There's green grass. I'm looking at green grass out there. It's abnormally warm. Hi, Paige. Yeah, I see that. So I guess that's a good segue into talking about that system. So, what about the economics? Is there still an economy in this system? Shouldn't it have its own economy? Like a worldwide economy on the Cardano blockchain? And if we all agree in this community that the commodity, the money is ADA, then we can all just use ADA to buy stuff amongst ourselves. So in that way, that would almost be its own state, right? It would almost be its own country. This, well, if you're still using the currency that the country that you're in is using, then you're still bound to that system. So, yeah, I can't see how exactly what Charles is saying to me fits exactly with what you're doing, right? But my plan, of course, is to just totally do away with needing money at all, right? So just barter and self sufficiency, completely off the grid, don't need any assistance from the government, don't even need their power, their electricity. So that's the final goal. And I think gold and silver have a big part to play in that too. We missed you last week, bud. Or I did. Yeah, I mean, there aren't really any questions, are there? Like, we've been hanging out enough to know everything. Like, yeah. So once you figured it all out, there's no point in talking about it anymore, right? Asking questions about it. I find it entertaining and easy to slip into complaining about how stupid everyone is, though. It's You're an anomaly. I don't know what it is about you, but you were able to see, even being in academia, being able to see through the brainwashing. Well, out of every all the TOE followers with Kurt, you're the only one that's come on over to the dark side here. I mean, the light side. Instead of Star Wars, this is like Mind Wars. We're the rebels against the evil empire. Uh, I can almost guarantee you that a lot of these guys have tried meditation. Obviously, Kurt's tried meditation, I'm pretty sure. Quite a few of these guys that I've keep telling it's all about meditation and stealing your thoughts. I bet you they've tried, but it's just I know what they do. I guarantee you I know what they do because I've seen a Zen priest that's got 40 years of experience, like being a Zen priest, decades of it. She'd meditate, and then as soon as the meditation session was done, she'd jump on Facebook, get out of her robes, jump on Facebook, and just engage in the world again, right? So I guarantee you that's what Kurt and these other academics are doing, is that they do their 10 minutes of trying to be silent, and it's terrible, and it's really, really difficult, and they try for 10 or 15 minutes, and then they just don't adapt their life at all. They don't change anything. They just all the same screen time minus that 15 minutes a day that they try to meditate. And it's just not going to work. It's like doing 10 push-ups a day and eating the same and thinking that you're going to get a fucking jacked, right? It's just you got to go in all in on this, right? The diet and the exercise. Yeah, the it's almost worse to be intelligent because all the intelligent people can get in a group and just tell each other how right they are and how wrong everyone else is. So it's just a feed. They're just feeding each other delusion for sure. And that's why, like, not one of these guys has tried to show me precisely where I'm wrong. They just ignore me, right? So either they think they just assume that I'm a crackpot off the start, or they've read my stuff and they don't think I'm a crackpot, and they're fucking scared, so they just ignore me. It's got to be one of the two, right? I think most of it is probably just the arrogance that this guy's just another crackpot that doesn't know anything. But I think there's some. I wouldn't be surprised there's some really important academic in there that I really put the bug in their ear. I think I really put a thorn in their skull here with all this. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe it's Edward Frankel, because Edward Frankel, I can see sometimes these guys start talking about, like Edward had this short video where he's talking about math doesn't relate to the world of the sense, and then he had a little diagram of the five senses. I'm like, well, sounds a little familiar. But the balls it would take to come out, right, to be the first person to come out, you're you're threatening your own job, right? Your own career. You're really taking it into jeopardy if you step out and say the empire has no clothes. Thorn in skull. If I had a band, it would be called Physical Karma. What do you play? Look at you guys. Right on. Wow. I can only imagine what genre it was. So you guys can both appreciate Tool then, right? After the end. Of course it was. Of course it was. That's a good one. Sorry, I like After the End a little better than Kill Me with an Axe. Swedish punk. You made an album? Get the fuck out. Paige's daughter is quite a singer. She's been in a couple of high school as lead, as she was the Little Mermaid. Yeah, she's quite a singer. Paige has an amazing voice too, but she doesn't let loose. I can play my stereo. It's a really nice stereo. What's Opeth? Oh, yeah, you've probably told me about them before. So, Ryan, what does October look like for you? Because that's what Peter and I have planned for Peter to come here in October. Mm, I suppose the only time you have a lot of free time would be Christmas ish. Yeah, for sure. Well, you're certainly closer than Peter is. Yeah, for sure. Even just 5 days, right? Would be amazing. October is just stunningly beautiful here. And it's still nice enough to go on hikes and stuff. Yeah. So back when I used to live in Saskatchewan, and we pushed all in on Cardano, and we turned into millionaires. So as soon as we turned into millionaires, like, well, all right, what do millionaires do? Well, we buy a new car. So I bought a brand new RAV4 and I got the custom license plate for it. And now it's retraced 95% again. Yay. Sure, I'm glad I sold and got this when I did. Like, no one predicted what the fuck's going on with the markets. Not one person. It's just bizarre. It's like, well, what did you expect when BlackRock started getting involved with Bitcoin, right? Like, they're fucking with it, just like they fuck with everything. But this is good, right? It's just like when silver was being repressed for decades, you could just buy more silver for cheap, right? And then when it goes like it went. And it'll go again. That's probably just the first wave. One, two, three, four, five. It'll probably go to fucking $300, $400 an ounce. So some good news, hopeful news, is that a couple days ago, me and my business partner talked to the person that's in charge of aviation for the Saskatchewan wildfire, and it sounds good. It sounds like we're all set up to get work this year, and Saskatchewan's in a big state of drought. So finally, I expect to be making good money with the drone business after 5 fucking years. It seemed, yeah, 5 years, 4 years. So if I can make like $1,500 a day doing this, I can pay off my debts and keep and buy more fucking crypto. Yeah, that's right. Who said that? I might have been Warren Buffett said investing is a tool to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. Yeah, from. So being early can also be wrong, right? In a way. And I'm always so early, right? Like I can see the train coming from miles away, and I get prepped before, and I'm too early. So yeah, patience. The good news is that Paige's massage job has picked up the slack, so we can survive here with just Paige massaging and me doing little stuff on the side, selling our soil and selling some food and some dried food goods. So we haven't had to sell any crypto after we bought this. Basically, we just sold a little bit. And so if we get 4 firefighters again downstairs, that's 10 grand a month. And then if I get working with the drone thing, that'll be lots of money. So 2026, I think, is finally going to be the breakout year. And 2026 it's like looking at 2020 and saying, hold my beer, right? It's like, you think that was crazy? Hold my beer, because 2026 is going to be crazy town. No. This is the crazy shit, right? This is your so using Elan Barinholtz's kind of model, it's like when artificial intelligence can do its own coding is the same as when language was developed within human consciousness, right? Language and thought is the system providing its own prompts, correct? Right? So it doesn't need an outside prompt question. It provides its own prompting, right? This is where the world, that realm kind of separates itself, right? The thought realm is separating itself from the sensual realm, and then it will well, it won't, but it'll seem like it'll separate. Well, yeah, it will separate because it's not even joined to the sensual realm, right? Ah, it's all very fucking crazy because it's almost like it's exactly a fractal. What's happening with the digital realm is a fractal of what happened with humans at when thought introduced itself, right? See what I'm getting at? It's we're prompting, the LLM is learning to prompt itself. So this is we're dabbling with the singularity, right? Like that's the fucking singularity, isn't it? When artificial intelligence can prompt itself and evolve itself, yeah, this it's happening in real time, right? This whole theory that I put forth years ago is happening in real time. What's happening is consciousness is making the switch right in front of everyone, and I'm screaming, by the way. So the human population is dwindling, right? There are soon there will be more people dying than being born. So this is the shift. This is what's happening right fucking now. The collective is making this shift. Like I keep looking for places where my theory can be disproven, right? But it's not. As this develops, it just keeps fueling my fire. It's like, holy shit, look at that. Even I'm surprised at what's going on, how accurate it is. And it just, how do people not see it, right? They don't want to see it. They don't want to know that what they take their self to be is no different than a fucking computer program. So it's really hard to show someone the truth when they don't want to know the truth, even when they're saying, I want to know the truth. They don't. Ryan, Kurt just had a cosmologist. I think he called him a cosmologist on, and this guy has a theory that the universe is a neural net. And he said that, get a load of this. Imagine that he said this. He said, there aren't two things that need to be unified. It's not just general relativity and quantum mechanics. It's also the observer. So he included the observer. The observer needs to be unified with QM and GR. It's like, imagine that. Well, I'll show you the fundamental model of reality, but you'll just shrug it off because it's too simple. But everyone is trying to copy, without even knowing it, the fundamental model of reality. But I think what offends the physicists and all the academics, all the reality theorists, like that have these really complicated theories, is that it's too simple, right? They can't accept that the depth of the information that's being shown. They can't accept that something simple can be so powerful. It has to be complicated, right? And it undermines all their deep thinking and all that stuff. It just makes it all look ridiculous, right? So they don't want to look like a fool, so they just ignore it. But here's the thing, right? Is that wouldn't you, if it actually is true, then you would be the first person, academic, to come up with a brand new interpretation of quantum mechanics that actually fits, it actually works. But that would prove everyone else wrong. So it takes a brave person. But if you've got tenure, who gives a fuck, right? Like if you've got tenure, why not just take a chance? Like I can tell that there's these 350 fucking theories and none of them stand out, right? They're all redundant. There's 350 of them. You got to try something different, guys. Wouldn't the theory that shows how and why those 350 theories are wrong and can never be right, wouldn't that theory be the right one? Yeah. Well, yeah, so here's the thing, right? Is that soon the computers will be teaching the human children, right? Because it's more effective. I'm sure that artificial intelligence is more effective at brainwashing than people are. So that's the next step, right? Is there won't be schools anymore. There won't be physical human teachers. Everyone will just stay at home and not have jobs and be forced probably by the government to take whatever online schooling there is. So it's just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Like, it's fascinating to watch. It's a little terrifying, but it's also fascinating. Like watching a slow moving train wreck. Well, humans won't even be able to think and deliberate anymore, right? This is what we're doing. We're losing our ability to deliberate even more, right? So just, it's fascinating to watch this process because it's after millennia of doing this, and this fucking parasite fucking thing, whatever narrative if we choose that narrative, I think it's been gallivanting through the cosmos like the Borg for fucking ever, right? Like this whatever the fuck it is, parasite, Maya, whatever you want to call it, it destroys planets. It destroys. It's amazing. Of course they don't. They want to be entertained. This is happening so fast. It's just creepy how fast it's happening. Like this fucking thing. Every time I look at it, there's like I feel a pull, like right, like in Dune when they used the voice in one of the first scenes in the movie Dune, when they show how the voice works, he implants right with his mom. She wants him to force her with the voice to pass him the water. So he puts that thought in her head and it shows how it worked, right? So she saw in the mind's eye, right? This is what happens when you watch really closely. An image will flash in your head of you doing it, and then it seems like you just go and that's some sort of gravity to make you go and do it. So you have to break that cycle, right? As soon as that image comes in, and that's what she did. She was stronger than the impulse, so she resisted. She didn't act on the vision of the future vision of her doing that. So that's what we're learning. We're learning to break that spell, like the voice. That fucking voice is the voice, right? So yeah, it's total control, right? So this new generation, as soon as that voice says something, they just follow it, right? There's no more resistance. There's no ability to deliberate, to think for yourself, to break out of it. You're just fully, completely delusional, going along on the samsara ride. Yeah, yeah. And isn't everything being destroyed right now? Like this Epstein thing, like Deepak fucking Chopra is in there 3,000 times. Like, What the fuck are you doing, Deepak? You're done. He's done. It's too bad because he was actually a big influence on me. Like in the end, everything's revealed. Whether you want to see it or not, it's all being revealed. All the falsity is revealed in the end. The irony of it is that it's so much about control, right? So that's one way that the ego is developed through volition, right? It appears as though there's an individual self that can make decisions and have volition, right? Choice. But there is no choice, right? So there is no individual. So every attempt at control is an ego building mechanism, right? If you can control things, then you're definitely an individual that has volition and has choice. But they don't recognize that they're just puppets of the voice in the head. So here's the thing. I'm still a little bit interested by the moon. So let's say that the moon isn't there, right? The moon is not a fully 3 or 4 dimensional object in space time or whatever. Let's say that it's intimately connected with the observer, with the consciousness. So for millennia, right, we saw a 2-dimensional visual, just within the visual sense, moon, right? We just saw it and it's 2-dimensional. So that was how the human nervous system projected the moon. So if we go there, like, okay, so when they did some seismic activity, seismic testing on the moon, it seemed like it was hollow, right? It acted like it was basically hollow, not a solid ball, but an empty sphere, right? So what if it's developing on the go the solidity of it, right? So it starts off as a 2-dimensional, just visual object. And then when you get there, it develops it into a sphere, a hollow sphere. And then as it goes along, more and more and more astronauts go there, and more human nervous system, the collective human nervous system interacts with the moon, it becomes solid. So maybe I'm just going on here, right? I'm just going, is that maybe it'll actually develop into a solid ball the more it interacts with human consciousness. It's not there. It's not pre-existing out there. It's all just projection. Like, they don't even know how the moon was formed. None of it makes any sense. And I think that's why that interview, when they got back after 21 days of being in isolation, that interview was so fucked up, because I think that the moon and those astronauts were coming to an agreement or something, right? Like, it, their nervous system didn't know how to process the moon. Anyway, it's all a projection. I'm not sure. It might take steps. It might take a process, but it might be very fast within each individual that walks on the moon, let's say. I don't know. I just think that, like, when they're getting used to walking on the moon and the new gravity, it's emerging. It's an agreement almost, right? We're coming to an agreement with the fucking moon, with the universe, of what this thing is now. But in a way, this makes sense, right? It makes sense that, okay, they did go there. They it's not a movie set. They went, they left the earth, but after that, I don't think they even know. Like, 5 fucking days. They were flying at tens of thousands of miles per hour for 5 fucking days. Like, can you imagine? And now there's new tomorrow, I think there's more astronauts going to the moon. But that's what it is, right? Is like the preamble of everyone thinking about the moon, right? And doing all the math and all the physics of the moon that generates, right? That's part of the how the universe constructs the moon. But this new equipment, it'll just be like rendering the reality fractal at higher and higher resolutions, right? It doesn't, right? You know what I mean, right? It just keeps generating more projection, more of a narrative. Yeah. It's not revealing something that's already there. It's just generating new shit, a new narrative. Yeah. Yeah, they sure are interesting, but they never end. Right? It's mystery all the way. If you just follow that, it's mystery all the way. You'll never how frustrating is that, right? I guess it's not frustrating wandering around in a labyrinth if you don't know you're in a labyrinth and you're not trying to get out. Yeah, it was a good one. I kind of needed that because I wasn't quite sure of the connection between the Julia sets and the Mandelbrot. But yeah, it cleared it up for me. The way I have it, right? I maybe you first came across that analogy in my one step path because I had that's when I was writing the one step path, that's when I came across the Mandelbrot set. So when what I have it as is the the black remaining in the set is basically enlightenment, right? And then everything, and then the colored is both thought and sensations. So the colored is all of experience, right? The samsara, and the black is staying in the self. So that's my where you have the black as the physical world, and you have the color as thought, correct? So that's the only difference is that, and no offense, I like mine better, of course, because the black is nothing, right? The black expresses the potential to leave the Mandelbrot set. But I don't see the need in including the Julia sets, but it may make it a little more nuanced the way you do it, right? Because the Julia sets are almost a whole new realm, right? They're not even really, I don't know. Your vibe coding. It's a great tool. I like Chatty as a tool. Wow, you go, boy. So do the laws of physics emerge out of the reality fractal, right? The appearance of physical laws through the functioning of the process, right? So what I'm saying is that the physical laws aren't the process, but the physical laws emerge from a misinterpretation of the process. So the physical laws are emergent. The physical laws are not the causal. Right. Mhm. It is precisely that which projects the illusion of duality. So again, they're trying to unify the duality that the process itself projects. And this is how we end up nuking ourselves. There's so much about human behavior that is gravity like. So there's two you guys and me here, right? And I noticed a while ago there were four people. So there were two other people popped in and then they fucked off. So there's something about the collective, if there's a collective human, a certain, if you could quantify it somehow, that when it reaches a certain level, the gravity works. But the more consciousness is focused on a single thing, the more that attracts more consciousness to look at that thing. So on YouTube, right, there's that line at the bottom that shows most viewed. So here's the thing, is that let's say that there's a video, right? It's the first, no one's viewed the video. And let's say that that person just randomly goes to a spot in the video, just random, and starts watching there. Well, there'll be a little bump there, right? There might not be anything interesting or anything different. It's kind of irrelevant what the information is in that video, right? So the next person, the second person, will see a tiny little bump, right? Where the first person went to. So they'll just, oh, well, that must be more interesting because someone else has looked at it. So then they go there. And there may not be anything special about that spot in the video, except that just more people have gone there. Usually it's a boob shot or an ass shot, right? Seriously. But that's how gravity works, right? It's the same fucking system that's going on with human consciousness and the development of cities and society itself, right? It's when it reaches a certain level, everyone just gets sucked in, right? So then then the bell curve is like this, right? If everyone just goes to that same spot, the fucking bell curve will be like this, right? Most viewed, most viewed. Fantastic, I will. Brown noise. 12 hours of brown noise. Okay. Hmm. No dreams. Peter, this is going to be, I don't know. Would you say that you are aware why you're sleeping? This is a tricky one because I can't actually say that. Like when I'm in dreamless sleep at night, I can't honestly say that I'm aware while I'm sleeping. But the, quite often while I'm meditating during the day, I know I'm not sleeping. Like I, but it seems like I can bring the dream, I can bring the sleep state into the waking state, but I can't really yet be aware while I'm sleeping. Yeah. So that's like, to me, that's a pretty good clue that you're really fucking advanced, right? Like maybe even fully enlightened. If you're aware while you're sleeping and yet not experience time. But I can bring the timeless state into the waking state, right? But I can't seem to be completely aware while I'm sleeping. But it's so cool when you bring the sleep state into the waking state, right? Just the peace and the timelessness is just like, timelessness is awesome. it's, it's liberation. Time is time is jail. Time is the labyrinth, right? So if you can get outside of time, you're outside the labyrinth. The labyrinth walls have been destroyed. And it's this simple: no thoughts, no time. Space time. You just put space in one of the fucking columns, right? And you put time on the other column into the fMOR. And then in the middle, you put space time. No, that has to have its own name, right? If it's a thing, it has to have its own name. You can't just say space is here and space and time is here and we're going to put them together and it's space time. That seems rather basic, doesn't it? It should have its own name. If it's an actual thing, it should have its own name. It's like calling a coin head tails, or a curve, calling a curve convex. Cavevex. That's what it would be called, cavevex, right? That's what that's what Einstein did. Is he created Vex cave. You start what physics does, right? Is I start off with two, and then they try to get one. They try to derive one from two, right? You start off with a grid. You start off with a grid. They don't start off with a point and then move and then develop a grid from the point. They start off with the grid, correct? And then points are derived, emerge in the intersection of two imaginary lines, right? But they're all fractals, right? Like, wouldn't you say that each one of the rows of the fMOR is a fractal? It's that or a holographic expression of the same information. Is the T time? See, it doesn't matter what the other symbol is, right? Like, you can put positive, you can put a 1 in the T, right? You can, instead of, we just replace the T with whatever the fuck you want, an I, imaginary unit, or a 1, right? You need to get rid of the other. It's just the positive and the negative. The other symbol in there is kind of irrelevant, isn't it? It's just positive and negative. That explains all of it, right? Just the convex and the concave, the head and the tail, the yin and the yang. You don't need a T in there. See what I mean? It's all the same fucking equation, right? Whatever you're trying to describe, that's it. So whatever little game, mathematical game you guys play with these equations, go for it. But it all just this side cancels this side out, and you're just left with the reality. But the imaginary unit has the positive and the negative not canceling out. See, that's the big thing, is that in addition, right? Addition and subtraction, that cancels the positive, cancels out the negative to get to neutral, right? So the imaginary unit has disregarded that. That rule doesn't apply anymore. And you can join the positive and the negative together, and they don't cancel out, right? They create God, basically. So the imaginary unit is a super concept, the final attempt of human consciousness to try to describe God and the Tao. That's what the I is. The imaginary unit, I, is language's final, the pinnacle of language attempting to describe reality, God, the Tao. That's it, right? Of course, that's what imaginary. So I got Chatty to develop this, to make this image of the yin yang, right? But in each eye of the fish is another yin yang. You see? So that's exactly what the imaginary unit is doing, is that it's Tao all the way. You see? If you put the Tao in each one of the little circles, see? That little circle and then that little circle, right? There's a Tao in there and there's a Tao in there. That's basically an expression of what the imaginary unit is doing, because the imaginary unit requires two rows of the fMOR, right? They flip the positive and the negative. So one of the eyes that's multiplying itself, interacting with itself, bootstrapping, is positive here in one of the rows and the I, and then the negative in the other column. And then the other I is the reverse of that. So now the positive and the negative don't mean anything anymore. See what I mean, right? Is that I've got the symbolism down perfect. I think. Yeah. Yeah. So it's what the imaginary unit, I've pointed this out. Like, holy fuck, guys. Like, fuck, right? It's like, this is the correct interpretation of quantum mechanics. How do I not go crazy? What do I do? What am I supposed to do? I have the correct interpretation of quantum mechanics. I have the correct interpretation of quantum mechanics. You stupid motherfuckers. Not you guys. Those other stupid motherfuckers. Oh, it's just so surreal. It's surreal to understand quantum mechanics. And then I see these guys talking, oh, they're so smart. And we're just so fucking smart. This is exactly how it is. There's no doubt about it. And then they're arrogant about it. I'll be fine. I got you guys to dump on. Like we've broken open the black box that is language. Yeah, they are the new belief system. But because of the nature of mathematics, right? The symbols of math, it can it once you agree upon the rules and are taught the rules, it produces the same patterns that everyone can agree. Yes, I see that pattern too. But just because everyone sees the same thing doesn't mean that that thing is reality, right? You could all be fucking fooled. You could all be seeing an illusion and agreeing on an illusion, but that doesn't mean that it's real, that it's fundamental reality. It just means that you can all agree that you're looking at the same thing, right? So yes, objectiveness doesn't equal truth. It just means consensus. Consensus. Consensus is not reality. It's just fucking consensus. It's just an agreed upon, it's an agreement. It's a belief that everyone agrees to believe in. But they take it to be fact. Oh, now it's fact, right? Whatever the fucking word fact means. But they would say there's only one or the other, right? They wouldn't even say, they don't even recognize the fundamental model of reality, right? So it's a duck. It's just a duck, right? So in a way, this knowledge is its own reward, right? Like, to understand this stuff is like an intellectual orgasm of the highest level. To understand this, to see it so clearly, it's like I'm grateful, and yet there's this subtle frustration that holy fuck, why doesn't this just get out? Why hasn't this gone viral? So, Peter, I'm really quite interested in how this could develop into community, right? This system that you've got. Because I could quite easily develop, I don't know if we need to, but this non-conceptual religion thing, like I could even develop goals for the society. Like, let's say non-conceptuality develops into a society. Well, what's the goal of society? Well, it's not conventional human goals of just staying alive, right? So our goal would be to recognize that the biological species dies, every single one of them, right? So instead of trying to fuck with nature, we work with it, right? We learn from it. So the goal for our society would be to go extinct peacefully, right? So we recognize every individual dies and every species goes extinct. So we're about to do that. We're about to go extinct. So how do we stop fighting that and just learn to go out peacefully? Just everyone learn how to die peacefully. So this is the ultimate goal, would be that a species would go out through enlightenment rather than kicking and screaming the whole fucking way. So a society that's focused on spirituality isn't having sex and having babies. That's not the point. The point is not to have babies. The point is to actually not have babies and to actually go extinct, right? To choose to leave this labyrinth. So I could even write, I probably will write out the goals, or the, I don't know, the philosophy of a society based on non-conceptuality, and it's to die. It's to die peacefully. So if every single human did, if we didn't have babies anymore and every human died peacefully, then the entire species could blink out through enlightenment rather than struggle and more karma. To die, yes. Take up your cross, kill the ego. Wouldn't that be wonderful to be part of a community and a society that all has that goal in mind, right? Is to just be at peace and just accept death when it comes. and to not propagate, to just go away. We need to go away. I think, yeah, peace is when you're winning the game. And winning the game is transcending the game. It's so tricky because every time you try to get it's like the Chinese finger trap, right? Every time you try to get out of it, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So you can't kill it, you have to starve it of your attention. It's a not doing. Spirituality is stopping. It's not a doing at all. It's a stopping of doing. It's the ceasing of doing things. Just be still. Like literally. Ramana Maharshi didn't. He went after his enlightenment experience, or this was all his enlightenment experience, when he sat on that slab of concrete in the basement of that temple. He stopped everything, stopped thinking, stopped moving, and was about to enter moksha. And then the universe said, "Nope, we have a use for you. You have to help liberate Roy." I think there's so much power in this stillness. And if we have a community that's dialed in on this stillness, it's going to be a strong community. I think that the universe will be, if God is for you, who can be against you type of a thing. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I had a Zoom meeting with this guy, and he's adamant that he knows what the fuck he's talking about. I keep trying to get Ryan involved because he's the smart one here when it comes to that. Yeah, so this Daniel Murray guy, it seems like he is convinced that he has uncovered an old that was developed in the 60s, I think, this equation of its Euclidean geometry. But again, it's all fractal, right? So it doesn't matter if it's in more advanced geometry. Anyway, it may very well be that this guy's onto something, but I don't have the mathematical knowledge to or interest to get into that minutia. But he agrees with me, so I like the guy. He said that he recognized that the fundamental model of reality is exactly that. So anyone who supports me can't be crazy. See, a person doesn't even have to know how to do math or coding. All you have to do is get the right prompts, right? To get artificial intelligence to do it for you. You might not even know what the fuck it's talking about, right? Daniel's thing is all about bounds as well, right? So there's obviously a connection between the reality fractal and what he's saying because he talks all about boundaries. Yeah, but it wasn't. He's not. He just did that to try to get some attention on X. That's all. He just wanted the algorithm to put up a red flag so that someone could see his genius. And it didn't work, of course. But the way he was going on and on, like me, like just adamant, like, why can't you guys see this? This solves everything. Like, I'm gonna win a fucking Nobel Prize, all the Nobel Prizes. Like, he sounds like a crazy person, right? But if artificial intelligence is saying having these long discussions with him, like maybe it's right, maybe he's right. I don't know. I think what his equation might be is what happens after the bias of attention reaches a certain threshold, then you go into duality, right? So it's quite fascinating. I think that maybe his equation is expressing Elan Barinholtz's autoregression thing. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to solve every single problem on the planet, but it could be. He could be completely, yeah, delusional. It could be. And that's what makes it like. How do you pick out like because my language is much the same, right? So if you didn't actually try to discern what I'm saying from all these other crazy guys, then I'm just lumped in with the crazy guys because the vocabulary is so similar, correct? But Like, if they spent the time to actually try to figure out the differences, it's all here, right? It's just they don't really want to know the truth. Like, if there's a truth, a a physical truth that just develops technology, then that's not it. Like, technology isn't going to get us out of this. Technology is a result of not understanding the information. Technology is a misuse of the information being provided. It's knowledge, right? So there's this new thing, pretty new to me, is that people are calling the wave function states of knowledge, which I can pick up on, right? Like, yes, I think so. I think the wave function is exactly Plato's fucking realm of platonic shapes, or whatever the fuck it's called, the platonic realm. It's pure thought. I believe that the wave function is just basically expressing the mind realm of thoughts, right? The concept of cat. Well, think of a cat. You can think of a cat as dead or alive, right? You can think of the non-existence of a cat, right? It's not there. But if the cat's there, it can be dead or alive. So the wave function of cat is cat in quotations. It's the idea of a cat. Schrodinger's cat is the idea of a cat. It's not an actual fucking cat. It's a thought cat. See, it's literal. It's just language. Like, Elan, what the fuck, man? It's like, stop taking so much time and stop being so cautious. There's no time. They're not going to believe you anyway. I'm standing here at the finish line with a glass of fucking Gatorade for you. Come on. Just come on. No, I don't think he's not familiar with thought-free awareness. I don't think so. He even lit up during our Zoom. So I think he self-medicates with weed to try to slow that mind down, I think. But he's wise enough to understand, to recognize the fundamental model of reality is exactly that. I think he actually said it makes him sick how right I am. But there seems to be some sort of mechanism, right, that that breaks the symmetry of the fMOR with the shifting of attention. And I think maybe his equation is an expression of how that, when that threshold is reached, how samsara develops, and duality arises from that bias of attention. I think that's maybe what that equation that he's talking about is expressing. And then you could even play around with it, right? Like, the more the focus narrows, how much faster does that process go? I think the more you narrow your focus, the faster and deeper you get into samsara. So the irony of it is that when he's doing that equation is exactly the process of samsara developing, right? So it's the functioning of his equation is exactly Maya in operation. It's brilliant, right? It's to me it's quite simple, is that we've just taken the symbol to be the reality. That's all. We've just we're taking symbol to be the reality. So not even that it's describing reality. So it doesn't describe reality, first of all. So if it doesn't describe reality, well, what the fuck is its purpose? Well, then it must be reality. You see what I mean? Like, it actually isn't describing anything. It's just giving life to itself. And that language, the language of mathematics, is the most effective language to pull attention away from the physical realm, from the realm of the senses, because it's all thought, right? You just get sucked in. I can imagine when these mathematicians are working deeply on an equation, that they're completely in their thoughts, right? They get so deep into their thinking that this realm disappears, right? I would imagine they're just so that, and they can do it without, right, without reference to the physical fucking world, right? So this can go on infinitely, right? The language produced by letters is finite, correct? So there's a finite number of ways to describe, to use language to create a world, right? That's a finite world because there's 26 letters and there's a finite combination of how those things can be put together, right? So that's the world, that's the limited world of language that language produces. But with math, you don't even need the sensual world anymore to relate to. It's just relating to more thoughts, right? So math is thoughts relating to more thoughts. It's completely at the inception of quantity. That is when the language is detaching from any sensual experience to become its own realm. Like, it's so obvious. But they love it. They love playing, they love delving into this fantasy world of this Rubik's fucking cube that produces all these funny patterns, all these pretty patterns. And then you can get a community of people talking about all these patterns. But it's all just distraction. It's all distraction to keep you from recognizing self. It's the game. I it's so it's not a difficult concept, okay, to the concept that quantity is an incorrect concept is not a difficult concept to understand, right? It's easy to understand that quantity could be an incorrect concept. But then again, they go back to, well, we all agree that we see the same patterns, so it must be true. But it's, see, being correct and being true are different. You can be correct. You can be in agreement, but you can all be false. You can be in agreement, but you could all be wrong, right? What you're agreeing on could be wrong, and quantity is wrong. So then that's the first step, right? That's quantity. And what's quantum mechanics? Well, the root word is quanta, right? It's all from the original concept of quantity. And then imaginary unit is when that world completely disassociates, right? It's the fucking Julia set. The imaginary unit, haha, is a Julia set of the Mandelbrot. You see how it can completely detach, appear to detach. The language is detached from experience. This is what Elan is saying that language can do. And that's exactly what I'm showing the language of quantum mechanics does at the imaginary unit. I just cannot fucking believe how people don't understand this. I'm a little animated today. Coffee. Amen, brother. But so here's the thing is that I'm starting to recognize how really difficult it is for most people to just get to the thought-free state. So there's a lady that's around here. She lives across the lake. She grew up with Buddhist parents and like everything spiritual. Like she's very advanced spiritually, in my opinion. I'm not supposed to share this ever. It's just become apparent to me that the thought-free state is very, very rare for a person to get to, even after decades of meditation. I don't know if IQ matters at all, to be honest. Like here, there's intelligent people. It's just a different type of intelligence. It's more geared towards nature, right? You're intelligent about nature. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, Peter. Awesome. This is actually happening. I believe that we will meet in 2026. Hey, Paige, I think the magpies are taking out your garlic, or they're they're poking around in the garden. I'm not sure if they're moving stuff that yeah, nature. I think I'll probably shut her down on the hour, so 10 more minutes. I don't know what that is, Peter. You know like 3 languages, don't you, smarty pants? Thieving magpie in Italian, nice. I get my pellet gun out. You know 3 languages, don't you? 4. That lady that I'm not supposed to talk about, Paige isn't here now, but she also knows like 4 languages. And she's separating from her husband. Just, just saying. I don't. I don't think she's watched any of these. But me too, though. Anyway, if she does, I think she's awesome. Let's just leave it at that. She's awesome. Who? Magpies have funerals. Wow. Who? Me and Paige or me and Peter? Paige has reaffirmed my sanity more than once. I literally, like, I'm like, you understand my theory, right? Like, I literally sat down, like, you get this, right? I'm not crazy. She's like, yes, I understand this. You're not crazy. I knew I wasn't, but I don't know. I've stopped shaving. It's a nasty look at this. Turned into from freaking Dr. Manhattan to Sasquatch. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about being out here is the silence, especially at night. There's just nothing. There's no noise. Pris- There's nothing other than being in the pristine state. Can you imagine if you didn't have the stillness, if you didn't even know of the silence and the stillness? Like you'd have no base, right? My eagle just showed up, bald eagle. Yeah. That freaking eagle will sit up there for 3 hours. All of nature. Uh, it seems like nature's more spiritually advanced than humans, but we have such potential. We're so close to our divinity. If we would just shift our attention just a little bit, just do it. Just learn to shift your attention and you'll, yeah, it's so close. We're so close to our divinity. And that's why Maya is working extra hard, right? It takes a lot of effort for Maya to hide this shit now. So people that have the correct vision will be able to see what's being revealed, right? All the truth is falsity revealed. And that's what's happening. Truth isn't what science is developing. The truth is the destruction of science. That's what truth is. The revelation of the falsity. I guess we'll call her for the week, for the day, for the session. Thanks for dropping in, guys. I really appreciate how consistent you guys are. I would still sit here by myself, but it's nice to have some company. All right, guys, hold to the practice. See you next Saturday.